my wife and I started Purnaa after having lived in India for some time. And as we had lived in India, we noticed that there were a lot of social justice issues of South Asia, especially involving Nepalis that would leave Nepal looking for work and would get into difficult situations in either bonded labor or human trafficking or labor exploitation. And we had a friend in India who really encouraged us that we should look there as a place where we could really make an impact by creating good jobs. And he had some similar businesses to Purnaa, and he offered to mentor us and kind of teach us in getting started. My wife also grew up in this part of the world. Her parents had worked in Nepal in the 80s and 90s, and so she was familiar with the culture. And so we just felt like we were kind of being led to what could be a good fit for what we wanted to do. We came in 2013. We had some co-founders who were already here working on some other projects who joined us. And we launched specifically to try to create a business that would create good work for marginalized people, especially survivors of exploitation and human trafficking, choosing the garment industry really as a type of business that can create a lot of job opportunities and can be scalable, and where we could put people to work quickly who maybe didn't come from very, very good educational backgrounds. And started with a tiny team of just a handful of people, a couple friends who agreed to be our first test case customers, and launched in the second part of 2013. When we started Purnaa, and before we got into running it, we really had no experience in managing a factory or even working in the garment and accessories industry. My background was actually in the US military. I was a scientific analyst. My wife worked in nonprofit management, and we kind of jumped in, maybe a little bit naive, into thinking we could run large-scale manufacturing. I think, fortunately, though, we tested it quite small. We got some good advice to trial things in a very small way before we tried to scale them. Also, my studies and my background in the military was in operations research, which is very applicable to running efficient, larger organizations. So I think as we grew, we found that we're actually quite good at executing scale-up of manufacturing and training people and running really high-quality operations here in Nepal. But I think what we had to learn was kind of the business of garments and accessories and how to serve our customers really well. When we first started Purnaa, we had a handful of smaller customers that were really just brave enough to try out working with a new manufacturer in Nepal. But they were all very customized products, and we were making to other people's designs and sourcing a lot of custom fabrics and doing a lot of pattern making work for those customers. We still offer those custom services, but we realized that as we grew and as we wanted to serve our customers better, we needed to develop some specialization. And so over the last few years, we've really focused in on manufacturing for stuffed animal and doll companies that are both sewn and knit, but then also specializing in baseball caps. So manufacturing customized caps that are printed and embroidered. We've also invested in printing machinery so that we can provide digital printing from within Purnaa for our customers to their designs. And so those kind of three specific areas are really helping us to focus in and provide more value to our customers as we grow. We think working in Nepal is a great opportunity and a value addition to our customers. So a lot of people maybe don't even know where it is. We're a small country sandwiched between India and China, and we're a mountainous country with the tallest mountains in the world, but also a jungly country on the southern border. So we have everything from rhinos to snow leopards across the range. But being in Nepal, we get to be kind of central in Asia and source materials from all over Asia, from India, from China. But also, it's kind of a unique story to be from the Himalayas. Some of the brands we produce for get to capitalize on that story to say Himalayan made, and it can kind of mesh with their brand identity. But also, we think it's an incredible impact to be operating out of Nepal for our social mission. So we specifically came here because of some of the social challenges that Nepal has. We knew that Nepal was a place that was a high human trafficking source region where people were taken from Nepal into global human trafficking situations. We also knew that Nepal is a high labor exporting country where a lot of people leave Nepal looking for work in other countries and then often get into exploitative situations through that labor migration. So we felt like we could have a strong impact in this location, and through creating good jobs here, it would make a difference in a lot of people's lives. We are really focused on being a living wage employer. That's part of our commitment to being members of the World Fair Trade Organization, but it's also part of the mission that we set out to accomplish when we started Purnaa. We really felt like good, sustainable, steady work for people was going to be the solution that helped them move out of exploitative situations. And we wanted to make sure that anyone who worked at Purnaa felt like they had a future working with us, and it wasn't just slightly better alternative to what was on the market, but they felt like it actually was a good job that they could grow into, that they could work with us for a number of years and be happy with what they were earning. And so we follow the fair trade process to determine what is living wage within Kathmandu in the context of our local area. That includes benchmarking against data published by the government, data published by other nonprofits that study what the living wage is, and then having an open discussion with our staff about what living wage should be for the workers at Purnaa. And then we benchmark what living wage is each year and try to set any salaries or wages or piece rate to at least earn at that level or better. That helps us to stay compliant with the World Fair Trade Organization, but also we hope makes Purnaa a great place to work for our staff. Paying a living wage makes us a little bit different than a lot of local manufacturers within Nepal. I think when people come and visit us, they see that Purnaa is working to have a workplace that is professional and clean and bright and modern, but also takes care of its people well. Fair trade manufacturing is a little bit more expensive than an exploitative model that has been rife within our industry, but it's not a lot more expensive. What we find is that by following fair trade practices with our workers, they're more likely to stay with us for a long time. They're very loyal and dedicated. They grow their skills better, we think. And we think we can control quality better by running things professionally and paying people a fair amount. And so we think the overall service we can provide for our customers is better because we do that. One of the challenges in sourcing internationally and in serving our customers well is producing according to a timeline. Often brands and companies need things quickly. We know there's pressure to have products arrive on time for a special season. As we know with all businesses, we're often struggling to keep up with everything that's required. From Purnaa side, I think we've learned that we're quite good at meeting a customer's needs, being willing to ramp up production quickly to try to deliver on time. I think that happens through good, open, transparent communication to make a good plan for what is really possible around sourcing materials, developing a product, amount of manpower maybe needed to produce in a certain time window. But I think also just problem solving and coming up with a customized solution for a customer. We have a number of customers that we work with long-term, who we develop a special production line just for them because they have a unique product, they have unique designs, they're always introducing new styles in that similar product type. And so we can design a production line or unit just for their needs and tailor the capacity for what they really need. And then they're able to give us some forecasts for busy seasons, slow seasons, and have flexibility to change things around a bit as demand changes. One of the really effective ways to be able to do that well is to invest a bit in the materials that are required to make their products. So if we can keep their materials in stock, ready to go, we can pull from the different colors or types of materials flexibly to change production as they see demand for different products or styles that are more popular than others. But we're always happy to work to grow with a customer if they contact us and want to make a larger quantity than maybe we're equipped to do right now. We'd love to build a custom plan for how we can scale to that capacity or to that need, and a timeline to get there to fulfill what they really need. So we're happy to meet new customers that are looking to source more ethically and maybe want to produce in a fair trade way, and we're happy to invest in the production equipment or training that would be required to get there. One tip we would like to give to brands and buyers to source more sustainably and ethically is that sometimes there are products you would like to purchase, but you're having trouble finding a supplier that can really produce it at the quality or the scale or the specific environmental sustainability requirement that you need. And I would say there are a lot of small scale manufacturers that have the right values in place, that are already operating in a fair trade way, that are already operating in a sustainable way, but maybe they just don't have the capacity or aren't quite developed yet to be able to fulfill capacity or timeline that you need. And so I think if you approach relationships with those really good smaller suppliers, you can sometimes build a plan to put in place the capacity or the capability or the technology even that could really serve you in the long run, and they become a fantastic partner over the long term. But it just might take a bit of open mind at the beginning to think about how are we going to build this and how are we going to scale up to it rather than having it already ready, because sometimes it just may not exist yet.